I had a full-on experience going to Milwaukee, Wisconsin's Ponyville Ciderfest, and I'd love to talk about it with you, so let's do this thing. Hey guys, how you doing today? I hope you're well. And like I said earlier, I'm going to talk about my experience at Milwaukee, Wisconsin's Ponyville Ciderfest. And I'll tell you what, it was really fun to go to. Now, before I move on, I just want to warn you guys that this video is not going to be very well projected on my end compared to like the other YouTubers you would watch when it comes to having their own experiences or new kinds of experiences at different events or conventions or whatever have you. So just bear with me on this one. I'm going to do my best here. So this convention dated back already from November 17th through the 19th of 2023, and technically this was my third time going to a My Little Pony convention. The other two times I had gone to was also Ciderfest of last year, and TrotCon back in 2015 or 2016, I don't quite remember. But anyway, I actually arrived in Milwaukee a day before Ciderfest began. You know, just to settle in, unpack, and all that fun stuff. So there really isn't much to discuss about for Thursday, but let me tell you about the first day of the con. So it's not very much of an exciting start off on a Friday morning, of course. Like, you got registration and you got a little time to just roam around, explore, see what's going on here and there. And then give it a little bit later, it was opening ceremony. Now, the way they introduced the Ponyville Ciderfest Con for this year, it was adorable. They did a little skit by introducing the original hosts of Ciderfest, as well as what I would like to call the Pony of the Hour, Fizzy Glitch. And the premise of the con itself was themed around an interactive storytelling. You know, one of those things where you kind of decide one's fate, or you decide who wins or who dies, or whatever. And of course, when it comes to conventions, there's always going to be technical difficulties or errors or standbys. So aside from the skit, they did introductions to the guests of honor, in which I will actually explain one of them in just a moment here. And of course, the community guests, and they also did some brief explanations of certain changes as well as rules and safety matters of the con, etc., etc., etc. And no, I did not get footage of the community guests or the guests of honor walking in on the stage, so sorry about that. So I would say maybe minutes before opening ceremony started, but I was going on one of the elevators to go up to my room to grab something, and little did I know, one of the guests of honors was standing in the elevator, and he was wearing this blue, mostly blue Hawaiian shirt with, of course, these Hawaiian flowers that are like tints of yellow and orange, maybe a little pink in front of it. And I actually complimented the guy. That guy, I mean Bill Newton, one of the voice actors. Don't you just love when you just casually run into someone who just so happens to be quite a popular person in the fandom? Well, guilty as charged, because I didn't actually know the guy. I didn't know. Now look, I really am a big fan of the show. I know the characters, I know the music, I just don't know much beyond that or behind that, so I just leave it up to the super fans of the show. And speaking of super fans, I've met a great deal of them, as well as made conversations, admire people's craftsmanship of costumes they wore, as well as their spirit and enthusiasm towards the show, and people carried around plushies of their favorite pony of the show, as well as original characters, and many other things. It was nice that a convention like Ciderfest, at least in my opinion, wasn't so intense or too crowded. And one of the best things to know about a con is that there are no judgments, and being nerdy or weird is okay. To some extent, of course, but like many other events, not everything is run on the schedule. Like all the panels I attended to were all starting a little late, surprise, surprise. One of the panels I ended up being at was at Brony's React Q&A, featuring Silver Quill, Saber Spark, and Ace Race Best. And I'll talk about him in a sec. I was able to get a question in since they were running out of time and I ended up being second to last in line. And after the Q&A, I just ended up being with a little group of people who just hung out in the big hallway near the ballroom, and we were waiting on one of the community guests, which of course would be Ace Race Best. And when Race did show up, he did set his stuff down at a table, brought out his camera to do some vlogging. Everybody was chanting Sarah's name, that's his wife, and he was giving out these Ready Player Dumb stickers, as well as talking to us. It was really fun. And this segment here was when we were doing a little mystery investigation as to where Pinky's hat was. And as you probably could see right around here, I couldn't stop zooming in on this dog. He was too cute. Afterwards, it was just chilling and relaxing and all of that, right up until like around midnight to 1 o'clock, where there was this other panel/game called My Little Dating Game. Now, so for My Little Dating Game, you had to be at least 18 years or older to at least come into the panel, because this was considered one of the rated R, quote-unquote, / innuendous, I guess? But don't get me wrong, it wasn't heavily innuendous, thankfully. But it was actually quite entertaining and funny to watch. So in case you don't know what My Little Dating Game is, if I could put this simply for you, you have a few contestants. In this case, at Ciderfest, they had 4 gals that were dressed in G5 My Little Pony characters. And there was actually a great deal of audience participation in this panel, because each contestant picked out 3 people and asked a couple of questions. And meanwhile, the members of the audience who were able to participate basically had to answer the questions in their own way and shower their contestants in a very simp-like manner, if you get what I mean. Like, just showering them with love and affection through their own words. Although I didn't participate myself, but I really did enjoy watching everybody else just playing along. And also, I would say the highlight of that whole panel was one of the guests of honor joined in pretty much to fill in a couple of people who were supposed to be there, but they didn't show up because they were tired and asleep, which you cannot blame them for. And this guy, he was just basically a wild card, or a commentator, or the class clown of the panel, which everyone loved this guy. Like Giles Panton, you just made every woman in that room blush just from your hilarity and also your charm. And we loved you for that, for sure. Like such a ladies' man, am I right? Now, I suppose people have a different opinion as to what a full-on experience of being at a con means, and just take my word for it. In my opinion, I had a full-on experience, in my view. And of course, I didn't go to, like, you know, certain events or VIP events, private events, because I did not purchase the badge for that. I can only go to certain events and not like the special kind, if you know what I'm saying. But anywho, the major thing that happened on Saturday was, of course, Hooves Line. And I've always wanted to watch this in the past, because I've seen YouTube videos of Hooves Line at different conventions in different years, and I've actually seen the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? And I actually wanted to see one in real life for some time, and I was so happy to take part of watching the performances, even though it was quite stupid and very much improvised, but it was hilarious. And of course, on a day like that, I had plenty of time on my hands, so I explored the con more, walked around, and mainly the vendor hall, which it was exploded with creativity. And whenever I do walk around a vendor hall, these creators of their art never cease to amaze me for what they have done. And there were a lot of things, like digital art on posters, they had stickers, lots of stickers, they had scented items, jewelry, figurines, plushies, woodwork items, a lot of stuff. And I have a high respect to artists and creators out there, so really good job, guys. You did an amazing job on your work. And there is not much to be said for Sunday because it was the last day of the con, so of course everybody would leave early. And overall, guys, I had a lot of fun, and I was glad I was even able to stay for an entire weekend for it instead of staying for just like a few hours or so. And for those of you who I met at the con as well as interacted with you, and if you are watching this video, hi, and thank you for such a good time. It was really awesome meeting you guys. So that pretty much wraps up this video, and I know I'm pretty new at this kind of stuff, and I am learning every step of the way, and of course, The video itself here was not the best looking or best spoken kind of video for a narrative slash vlog video, but I'm doing what I can. And I do apologize that this video came out much later than I intended to, but there were quite a lot of things going on in my life. But I'm glad I was able to finish while I can, and thank you for watching. It really is appreciated from me. So until then, next time, I will see you later.